The following was originally published in 2018, and while I stand by the critiques of The Last Jedi I make, I deeply regret any direct personal attacks I make against Rian Johnson, Kathleen Kennedy, or any other employee of Lucasfilm. Those comments were made in anger and frustration, and I will do a separate video about that after this series.
First things first, I know I've given Lore Reloaded some flack over the whole Star Trek Voyager threshold thing, but I have to say I may have overreacted a bit. A few people pointed out that, hey, it was just an isolated comment. He could have been completely sarcastic in it. So, in the interest of being fair, I'm going to refrain from any further.
I think that he's been unequally punished, just like people say Threshold is the worst they've ever seen. Obviously, Threshold is the best Voyager episode ever done. So, there is that.
Lore Reloaded needs to burn in hell. Before I get started, I need to address the 5,000-pound bantha in the room. And that has to do with yesterday's episode of this review. A couple of people got a little peeved at me for my insistence that DJ did not know the plan. And among those that were upset, some, in my opinion, were just being ignorant of what was actually in the video. Others, however, I think have a legitimate, although in my opinion, misunderstood argument here. So I'm going to get into that a little bit. And this comes from Darth Sidious, who had a couple of comments on the subject where he says that in the novel, Rose tells Finn and DJ that's how he knows. He also goes on to say, novel is canon. Calling it a plot hole is pretty stupid just because it wasn't in the movie. A lot of things happen off screen in movies. This plot hole is something you wouldn't even notice unless you're just watching just to pick it out. All right, let me get right to the meat of this. First of all, Darth Sidious, thank you. I do appreciate your comments and everything. Don't think that I think you're a jerk or anything just because you may point something like this out. I really do appreciate it. Let me talk about the difference real quick between a plot hole and an Easter egg. A plot hole is when something is just plain missing. An Easter egg is when there's a piece of information that's like an inside joke or an inside gag or even just an inside cool thing for people that may be in the know. So, for example, early on in this film, we see a compass and a red kyber crystal that I made a little wisecrack about in my review. Now, I didn't put any points on it because those were just Easter eggs. They were there for people that have played the Battlefront 2 video game, and I can't remember the source for the kyber crystal, or one of the animated series or something. And so it was there just to kind of give them a little Easter egg. It does not change the context of the story. If, as you and a couple others pointed out, in the novelization of the book, Rose, being a mechanic, helped install the cloaking devices on the transports, and then she points that out during this conversation with DJ and Finn, so they are able to put it all together. That's great, but if you don't include that in the movie, and there's no reference to it in the movie whatsoever, that is indeed a plot hole. It is something missing from the story that would, in fact, fix this problem. DJ not knowing that there are cloaked ships. And in fact, the fact that it is in the novel actually strengthens my case, because the novel, in some things were added to the novel to correct for plot holes, to explain away plot holes. And that's nothing new. I'm not saying that every movie should be 100% free of plot holes, but a lot of times in the novelization, they will try to pave over some of these plot holes in interesting ways. That would make perfect sense if Rose and Finn and DJ had that conversation. However, in the film, that conversation does not take place. And if it requires you to go to external sources it's a plot hole. I was on the other side of this argument a few years back, and I lost that argument, and rightly so, and that's why I changed my opinion on it. Back when Star Trek 2009 came out, a lot of people expressed their disgust in the villain Nero, saying that he was underdeveloped, boring, and there was no point to him, and what the heck was he even doing for 20 years from the time that he first shows up and kills Kirk's dad to when Kirk is now a cadet. Well, there's a comic book, or not a comic book, but there's a deleted scene that explains this. The comic book actually gets into it as well. The comic book called Countdown gets you into Nero's character. It gets you to understand where he's from, why he feels the way that he does, where his ship came from. All that is explained in the comic book. In the deleted scene, we find out that he was kidnapped by Klingons and held prisoner for 20 years. Well, guess what? That makes Nero a well-fleshed out character, but not in the movie. If you only see the movie, Nero just appears to be completely one-dimensional, and frankly, it just doesn't make sense that A, he waited around for 20 years, and B, why is he so pissed off? Yeah, and even though Spock offers an explanation, it's way too brief. So, yes, if you have extra sources, that's great. That's great for the nerds and everything, but if it goes beyond the realm of Easter eggs where it's required to understand the plot, that is the very definition of a plot hole. So there. Last time on the Anti-Trekker, we got Haldo as a hero rammed down our throat over and over and over. So after spending most of the film showing us what a treasonous jerk Haldo is, since we're now told that she's really a hero, we're supposed to be okay with it. F*** you, Rian Johnson. Also, DJ sold out the Resistance using information he had no way of having because F*** you, Rian Johnson. On the subject of Haldo, many people argue that,
well, you see, she had to stay behind, not for a lack of autopilot, but because she needed to do the suicide run, because that was the plan all along.
But there's a couple of problems. First, as we saw last time, Leia was expecting Haldo to get onto a transport. And second,
Admiral, we're taking fire. Do we turn around?
No, you're too far out. Full speed to planet fall. Full speed.
it is painfully clear that Haldo's sacrifice was a reaction to try and save the transports. This was a spur-of-the-moment thing, not some predetermined plan.
I did not expect Skywalker to be so wise. We will give him and the Jedi Order the death he desires.
What? Huh? Wait, how is Luke wise? I was thinking I was missing something, or maybe there was some other super secret plan, but no, apparently Snoke knows that Luke just wants to die and is no threat, but Snoke is commenting on how wise he is, and then after they're done, they're gonna go destroy the island. But wait a minute, if Snoke got all this information out of Rey, shouldn't Snoke also know that Chewbacca has the Jedi texts and Luke doesn't even have them? Whatever. The Dark Force butthole. Okay, I gotta. No commentary, no point to this. I just really like that for some reason. So Snoke makes Rey look out the magnifying glass.
The entire resistance on those transports. Soon they will all be gone. For you, all is lost.
Okay, first of all, we have holographic scanners and stuff all over the place. But for Snoke's personal throne room, we have to open the window and look through a magnifying glass? Huh? Second, Rian Johnson, can you please stop trying to make this scene like Return of the Jedi? I really just want to watch Return of the Jedi.
You have the spirit of a true Jedi.
So Rey charges in using her hate and anger. You know, like a Jedi. And of course, Snoke, being the most powerful being ever, swats her aside like a fly. So yeah, this looks pretty bad for Rey. Honestly, at this point, they did a really good job of making Snoke look like he is a force to be reckoned with. He is genuinely terrifying as he casually uses the Force to just grab Rey and move her around the room. Snoke holds Rey before Kylo, so Kylo can run her through with his lightsaber. Snoke is one of the most terrifying villains I have ever seen, and it looks very, very bad for Rey and the Resistance fleet. You know, like in Return of the Jedi. But this time, I'm not actually wishing I was watching Return of the Jedi. I'm totally into the scene. I cannot wait to see how... What? What the fuck? Fucking hell, Rian Johnson, what the fuck are you fucking doing? Are you such a shithead as to kill your primary villain completely out of the fucking blue? I can't take this shit anymore. This is fucking crap, man. Just fucking kill me, you motherfucking... What the fuck? I can't fucking believe it. Look, I know that a lot of people are going to suggest that this particular sequence was brilliant because it subverted the expectations. And it genuinely does, because obviously, from the moment we first saw him, everybody assumed that Snoke was a quote-unquote stand-in for the Emperor. But here's the problem. Snoke was an interesting background mastermind villain. And I was really looking forward to learning more about Snoke as time went on. I was really interested in trying and finding out how he rose to power, how powerful he truly is, and seeing an all-out battle with this guy. Because he is obviously one of the most powerful Force users we've ever seen. So for Rey and or Luke to have to come up with a way to take this guy on, that sounds like a conflict I want to see. And so setting up this whole thing for a Rey/Luke and a tag team with Kylo/Snoke, I think that could be awesome. And it really would have been interesting. But in just killing Snoke off unceremoniously like this, it makes no sense. You're just killing him just to kill him. You're not killing him to serve some greater purpose. It's not like all of a sudden you have this big epiphany with Kylo and Rey. They really walk out of this whole throne room sequence, as we'll see next time, pretty much unchanged. So what was the point? And that's my problem, is that when you're dealing with writing of an epic story, writing of a fantasy, writing of a hero's journey, everything you do that is a significant event has to have some kind of point to it. You see that throughout the original trilogy, even throughout the prequels. But Rian Johnson's point seems to be over and over and over to have no point. And that just, it boggles my mind, because this could have been such a good film. This could have been an interesting idea. What if Snoke had actually converted Rey? What then? What if at the end of this film, we have Luke and Leia as the only good Force users left, and we have to deal with Snoke, Kylo, and Rey? Or what if Kylo turns to the good side and makes a daring escape after the suicide run that will be coming up? And now it's Snoke and Rey against Kylo and Luke, or something like that. But instead, we basically just get rid of the two powerhouses of Luke and Snoke and leave ourselves with Rey and Kylo, who have already fought once before. Rey completely kicked his butt all over the place. And I know that some people will argue that the reason that Rey was able to defeat Kylo at the end of The Force Awakens was because Kylo had been shot and was injured. Fair point. However, Kylo had also just defeated Finn, a trained stormtrooper, a person with hand-to-hand combat experience. And yet Rey, who had no formal training, just some basic survival skills, was able to take him down. I don't buy that. And so there's no drama here because the big climax for the next movie is going to end up just being a rematch where the hero handedly defeated the villain the first time. So there's no feeling of threat. There's no feeling that there's any danger. And that takes away drama. And without drama, no matter how big the spectacle is, it's boring. I don't know. Maybe Rian Johnson had some grand idea. Maybe J.J. Abrams will pull a rabbit out of his hat. I don't know. But as of right now, Star Wars is fucking dead.
Hit the like button, you will. Likes lead to comments. Comments lead to conversations. Conversations lead to understanding. Go to Patreon and support the anti-trucker you must, if supporting his videos you want. Yes, support his videos. Then listen to this at the end of the videos. You will not